Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Match Character 3178 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, am I the arsehole for breaking up with my girlfriend because of a caught cheating prank? I, 26 male, broke up with my girlfriend, 25 female, of 2 years because of something that happened recently. And now my friends are saying I massively overreacted. So, a few days ago, my girlfriend and a close mutual friend decided to play a prank on me. The prank was that they filmed a scenario where I caught them in bed together, pretending they were hooking up. They set up a hidden camera in the bedroom, and when I walked in, I saw him in just boxers and my girlfriend in a bra and panties, straddling him, acting like they were mid-hookup. To make it more realistic, they even made some noises and tried to act like it was happening for real. I was shocked, furious, and immediately confronted them as I thought it was real at first, like an actual betrayal. And then I walked out of the room and started leaving the house. When they followed me screaming it was just a prank, and they showed me the video they'd been recording. To be honest, I felt completely betrayed, not just by the idea of the prank, but also because of how they had gotten undressed to film it. I know it's meant to be funny to some people, but for me, it felt disrespectful, and I was hurt. The whole thing felt like a violation of trust, even though I know they weren't actually cheating. I told her I couldn't be in a relationship with someone who would do something like that. And I ended things right there. She's devastated, and our friends have been telling me I overreacted. They think it was just a harmless prank and I should have taken it better. But I can't shake the feeling that it crossed a line for me, especially with how intimate and uncomfortable it felt to see them in that situation, even if it wasn't real. Now I'm left wondering if I made the right decision. I'm starting to doubt myself because everyone else seems to think I blew it out of proportion. Edit. I did not expect this many responses. Thank you guys. She posted here earlier and sent me a link to her post. I know she wants me to watch the video to prove it was all a setup and planned, but I feel she doesn't get that I am upset about her disregard and disrespect for me and our relationship. Anyways, I'm gonna sign off for the night. I shouldn't be shocked at these stories these days, but every time it just goes through my head, like this idea went through one of their heads, and they discussed it with each other. 2 people, and they never said, this is a shit idea, let's not do this. They went ahead with it. Reddit brain initially thought, maybe they are cheating and maybe they just film this just in case they do get caught. Then they got a little get out clause, you know, which I know is probably not the case, but you know, you had a completely normal reaction to what you thought was infidelity. You know, she was straddling him in her underwear and him in his underwear. I wonder what their reaction was if this was the other way around. You had a perfect valid reaction to that, and they're just minimizing your feelings, trying to make you feel bad. And I also see it as hugely disrespectful to run off and tell friends about this as well, and I guarantee they've not heard the complete truth there. But first commenter says they're massive arseholes. There are things it's okay to joke about or prank someone with. Fear of spiders, a rubber spider in a drawer is fine. Afraid of snakes, putting a rubber snake on your driveway while you're at work is fine. Most people will just drive over it or hit the brakes, but this is not something to prank someone with. You and her had an intimate bond, I assume, and she decided to pretend to have an intimate bond with someone else for a prank and film it. Why? Why film it? If they post it online, it's probably to make you look bad. Like you're such a weak man that even though you caught her cheating, you still want to be with her. Not the arsehole. She was either going for attention or trying to make you look bad. Also, just adding this in there because I know someone will comment on it. Be careful with fears of spiders and afraid of snakes. Maybe phobias, not something to joke around with. Just think through your pranks. OP says, I asked her what she planned to do with the recording, and she said she had hoped I'd come to find it funny too and be on board with her posting it on YouTube. Why the fuck would you think that I would be remotely interested in doing that? I will never know. Dr. Lucia says you made the right decision. Other people don't get to decide what sort of prank goes past your line for pranks. If your ex-girlfriend really was devastated, maybe she'll learn that trying to pull elaborate pranks can backfire on her, and she won't do it to other people in the future. not the arsehole. Opie says thank you. I was going crazy with everyone around me gaslighting me into thinking I am overreacting. This environment says not the arsehole, and you are not comfortable with that, and that's okay. Play stupid games and win stupid prizes, I say. Do what you feel is best, and on the side, there is no reason to strip for a dumb prank like that. And straddling in underwear? That's just disrespectful. Opie says this was a whole other thing. I told her they didn't need to strip down to do this. She said she was trying to make it more believable. Nanda says, so two adults who were comfortable enough being in their underwear together and assuming a sex position think you are overreacting. Opie says I can't make sense of it either. This environment says no, that's crossing a line and can be seen as cheating by some, to be honest. What was the point of the prank? Just to hurt you for shits and giggles? The whole concept of cheating pranks are so stupid. Opie says pretty much. That's how I see it too, and she says I'm insane for equating it with cheating. Ultimately, what led to the breakup was her not realizing how fucked up what she did was. Away understanding says not the arsehole at all. They were nearly naked doing a prank that was designed to cause you pain. They are at best insensitive idiots, and so are the friends calling it a harmless prank. It's not harmless. That situation is something that causes harm. In quotes, especially with how intimate and uncomfortable it felt to see them in that situation, even if it wasn't real. And says, but it was real in a way. They may not have had sex in that instance, but she was in a bra and panties straddling him. Why was she so comfortable doing that? I would never do that with any of my guy friends. They could have kept their clothes on and just made noises while sitting apart behind the closed door. What they did was intimate, so clearly they're comfortable with each other in that way. I'm not fully convinced nothing has ever happened. She can be devastated all she wants, but hopefully this serves as a lesson to her to respect the relationship she's in. Move on to someone more mature and ready to be in a committed adult relationship. Opie replied saying I never considered it might have been real to some extent. But yeah, come to think of it, I would definitely not have been comfortable if I were in the same position had the roles been reversed. Darth Pimpin says, what a name, I'm curious whose idea it was. If it was the ex-girlfriend, that's messed up. If it was the friend, it wasn't a prank. He wanted to break you up. Opie says apparently they came up with the idea together a few days before they did it. Another commenter says, easy reality check. If you had done that to her, what would her reaction be? Ask your friends the same thing. Not the arsehole. Opie says she said she would have been shocked at first, of course, but then found it funny, knowing how jealous she can get. I didn't believe it for a minute. Infinite Wish says not the arsehole. How does your girlfriend of 2 years not know you well enough to know what you'd find funny? Like, even if you prank all the time with each other, she should know you and what you would find actually funny. If you're not laughing, it's not actually a prank. It's just them hurting you and then blaming you for being hurt. Opie says, yep, I told her that. She says she wanted to try something new and unexpected and didn't think I would feel so strongly about it. Form says, never talk to either of these idiots again. Were they going to put this video online? Opie says, yep, that was the plan. Excellent Highway says, your friends aren't your friends if they're supporting your ex-girlfriend and saying you're overreacting. Honestly, I wouldn't want people like that around me. And what outcome did the two of them expect? You to be, okay, funny, haha, and be able to move on and trust them both. You walking out is underreacting, and just breaking off the relationship is definitely nowhere near overreacting. A lot of people would have resorted to some form of overreaction with their hands if put into that situation. And yet, you were the mature one and walked away. Be proud of yourself and how you handled it. Not the arsehole. Opie says my immediate reaction was shock, which is why I walked away. But as soon as it sunk in, I would have gone back and beat him up, and she knows it. She says she wasn't going to let it get that far. Too Little says, I bet this was a prank to throw you off the scent. How comfortable did they seem? Opie says too comfortable, and he's not a long-term friend of mine or hers either. We've known him for just over a year. Sound Gangster says, I hope you show her this thread, not the arsehole. Opie says I shared this post with her, him and my friends, and they'd get off my case and see what others have to say about this. Save the Turtle says, not the arsehole, I am curious as to what your supposed friend has to say for himself. How is he justifying your ex grinding on him in their underwear and moaning in pleasure as being funny? Is he claiming that he didn't get at least semi-hard having your ex grinding on top of him, and he can look at you with a straight face and think they did nothing wrong? Opie says they say they didn't grind, she just sat on him, like that makes it any better. Dandelion says, I mean, does she not consider half-naked dry humping a form of cheating? Because many people would. You want to be with a partner you're on the same page with about these things. This prank is cruel, and it's also a weird excuse for her to get sexual with a friend. Red flag after red flag. After reading this, I assume you guys were like college kids. 25 is a bit odd to be playing these games. Opie replied saying I thought I was too old for this shit too. Told her the same thing, that she dry humped a guy while half naked in our bed. That is cheating. She insists that she just sat there and there was no grinding, like that makes a difference. Kine says, one more question though, a critical one. Is the guy gay by any chance? Opie says no, he is straight. But have the same reaction even if he were gay though, or if she did it with a woman. Her behavior was disrespectful in my opinion. Another commenter says, OP, you've been with her for how long? 2 years. And she had no idea how this was going to go over with you. That's pretty sketchy. Do you have a wacky weird sense of humor? Does she have a history of doing pranks? I can't see anyone thinking this was a good idea. Why would you do that to someone you love and care about? The whole idea is screwed up enough to show you were not the arsehole for how you reacted. Did the two of them tell any of your friends ahead of time that they were doing this prank? Someone else suggested they were going to film themselves together when you stepped into the room. And he thought that could be possible. What did the mutual male friend do when things blew up? Get dressed and slink away? What has he had to say to you and your friend group? Edit to ask, is the mutual male friend in a relationship with someone? If so, how's his partner taking to the prank? Opie said she mentioned a while ago that she finds these pranks on YouTube and TikTok hilarious, but I never suggested I liked them or watched them or had any interest on being on the receiving end of one. No, they didn't tell anyone. They planned and executed the whole thing themselves. He put on his pants and chased after me as she's yelling, bro, it's just a prank. He is single. Friends watched the video and thought it was a funny prank. Tracker says, what conclusions? If they can fake cheat, what's stopping them from real cheating? Jumping to conclusions, in my opinion, would be something like accusing them of lying about recording for a prank. As far as you know, and we know, it was an insurance policy to gaslight you in case you did catch them. I thought that too. But saying it was disrespectful, poor taste, and just outright cruel isn't jumping to conclusions. It's stating facts. Opie says some are accusing her of sleeping with him, which I totally understand, and I can't shake the possibility of it being true. She says she is hurt by this accusation. Sassy says, you still pals with a guy? Or is it just your ex-girlfriend you're mad at? Opie says, nope. I told him off while partaking in this, and cut him off as well. And one more comment which says, did they know that you were home with them? What's the context there? Or did you just walk in and find them? Opie says, I came home and heard sounds coming from the bedroom. When I walked in, I found her on top of him. So within this story, Opie mentioned that his girlfriend had her own post, which was deleted but recovered. So this is the girlfriend side, and it says, I think my boyfriend is overreacting for breaking up with me over my caught cheating prank. My boyfriend posted here a few hours ago and shared the link with me to show me what people thought about what I did, and that he is not overreacting. I thought I'd come on here and give my version of events for a more nuanced take. I planned the cheating prank with our close mutual friend several days ago. We were hanging out and scrolling through TikTok videos and came across prank shorts between couples. We went down the rabbit hole and ended up watching YouTube videos of cheating pranks, and I mentioned it'd be funny to try a cheating prank on my boyfriend to find out what his reaction would be. He said he would do one with me, and I agreed because it was someone my boyfriend liked and trusted, so I thought it would be harmless. It started out as a hypothetical plan, but over the course of the conversation and while hashing out details, it turned into a real plan, and we agreed to the day we would do it, when my boyfriend would be out and come back home to find us together. We set up the camera and filmed ourselves talking about the prank and set it up on top of the dresser in the bedroom and got into position. We were laughing throughout and it's all on video. To make it believable, I told him to take off his shirt. He said I should probably do the same, so we did. Then he thought it'd be even more believable and provide that shock factor if we also took off our pants. In hindsight, this was a terrible idea, but I agreed to it. You know how the rest of the story went from this post, but what he didn't mention is that he refused to watch the video I recorded showing that it was a planned prank. that we only took off our clothes and got into a sex position when we knew he was home. I understand that this prank was extra and hurtful to him, and for that I am sorry. But I'm not cheating on him, and I did not mean to disrespect our relationship. I think him breaking up with me is a massive overreaction because other than this incident, which I now massively regret, our relationship was great. We shared 2 wonderful years together and moved in together over the summer. I plan on deleting the video and won't be sharing it on social media, but I will share it with him first for proof of my intentions. Again, my palm is just on my forehead at the minute. I'm just like, there's so many chances to stop what you was doing through this whole thought process. And the fact that it wasn't like a spur of the moment thing, it was a plan, it was thought out. Filming it, stripping down, and at no point it crossed your mind, this is going to hurt him. This is going to hurt the person that I love. And it doesn't seem that you're sorry you did it. You're just sorry he didn't react in the way that you wanted him to. And you're still minimizing his feelings even till the very end. That it's a massive overreaction that he broke up with you. After you chose to destroy his trust with your own choices. And again, it was a planned betrayal. It was over several days, which I think makes it worse, not better. You had plenty of time to realize this was cruel and stop it, but you're more interested in social media content than your own partner's feelings. Absolutely sad, but OP, the original OP, replied to a couple more comments after in their original post. Someone said to OP, get another friend to watch the video. OP says, all our friends watched it. It was obviously just a prank, and I should not be breaking up with her over it. Save the Turtle says, what does the video show they did, and what does he specifically have to say for himself man to man about betraying a friend's trust for a prank that wasn't even remotely funny? OP says, never saw the video, and I stopped answering his messages and calls. Academic Respect says, OP, you say you watched the video. In the edit, you seem to say you haven't watched the video, leaning towards this post being a prank. OP says, in my original post I said, they showed me the video as I was leaving the house. I should have clarified, they were chasing me waving the camera with the video recording, and were trying to show me the recording, but I left the house without seeing it. Haven't seen the video as of yet. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, this next story comes from the Petty Revenge subreddit from Too Early to Think and says, testing the family helps family. A fun petty revenge story I think everyone would like. Seeing a lot of golden child stories on Reddit lately, here is one from a childhood friend I know very well. I left a lot out because I like the revenge part, but it was a rough childhood. It starts pretty much the same as a lot of other stories. Greg was the firstborn to young parents. Not sure on their ages, but early 20s at the oldest, who at the start of his life didn't have much time for him. He was consistently at his grandparents' house. That's how we met. They lived close to us and we would hang out all the time. When he was about 7, his parents had a girl named Jane, and right off the bat, they told everyone this was the makeup kid, the kid who they were going to raise right. As they grew up, Greg was a solid student, had a great friend group, played sports growing up. We became good friends because we hung out in school and was always on my teams. I found out later in life that it's because my parents, being the good people that they are, had actually paid for Greg to play some sports, and he was on my teams because that was the only way he could get to games. He started working at 16, saved up everything, went to college, then after completing college transferred to university, where he's majored in software engineering and met his girlfriend, Sarah, graduated in chemical engineering. After school, they ended up getting good jobs and buying a condo. Jane, on the other hand, has been the typical spoiled child. She was barely passing high school when she needed to transfer after making false allegations that a teacher asked her on a date, and she rejected him. That's why he failed her. She's gotten into multiple car accidents, completely writing off 3 cars, still lives at home at the time of this story. She would have been 22, and their parents have paid for everything for her, from new computers to cars to fast food and vacations. What led up to this is for a couple of years after Greg and Sarah had moved in together, Greg's parents would consistently ask him for loans. Being the bit of a pushover he is, he would often give them a few hundred here and there, and a couple of times it would be as much as a few grand. It was a constant fight between him and Sarah. The cycle would be, his parents would ask, he would give and not tell Sarah. Sarah would find out and yell at him. He would try to stand up to his parents. Parents would give him the family helps family when times are tough, or blood is thicker than water lines, even though himself and Sarah knew it was because they were giving so much to his sister. Then something happened. Greg and Sarah found out that they were expecting their first child. This is where something must have clicked for Greg, and he realized that he now has a family he has to worry about. We're at the bar when this seemed to finally click in for him. It was fun to watch. He already thought about cutting off his parents. This kind of made the decision for him, knowing he didn't want people like that in his kid's life. So with Sarah's approval, he decided to test their family should always help out family line in a pretty fun way. Well, in my opinion. He also wanted to see if he could get back at least some of the money he had given to them. The two of them started looking for a house once they found out she was expecting, found a place they liked, and their offer was accepted. Once they had all the closing dates and information signed off, he called his parents. He told his parents he had lost his job and was on the verge of being homeless. He needed to come up with $5,000 or he'd lose his condo and him and Sarah would be homeless. Of course, the excuses started to come out as to why they couldn't help him. If he is man enough to play house, he should be able to stand on his own 2 feet. I saw some of the messages. It was sort of like a sports interview with all the greatest hits. Greg expected all this, and he took it all well. To be honest, if his parents had given him the money, it probably would have been a far more interesting story. Sure enough, the closing day approached. He tried a couple more times, reaching out to his parents, dropping the number he needed all the way down to a couple of hundred, and still no help. On the closing day, a bunch of us helped him move. His parents knew the date. He had told them he needed the money by such a date multiple times or he was going to lose the condo. And no one showed up to check on him, not even a phone call. After the move, he stopped messaging his parents altogether. He didn't block them because he was curious how long before anyone said anything. It took about 2 months. In that time, he got engaged, when he got a confused message from his dad, saying he had tried to drop by his condo, probably needed something, and there was someone else living in his place. He simply replied, "Thank you for showing me how much family helps family when times are tough. Hope Jane shows you the same support you show me when the time comes. From Greg, Sarah, my fiance, and soon-to-be daughter." Then he blocked them, and he hasn't reached out to them since. The final message in this was just too perfect for me, reminding them that Jane will probably treat them the same way that they treated him when they're older and need help. As we sometimes say, the best revenge is just letting people show you who they really are. But what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.